Yo, call me a blinky the way I get sticky. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Games Kids. Today, and only today, we are here to talk about Sonic 5. All right, where is it? What's going on? All right, what's really popping with this, and why has this entered my mind? This started about in my mind because in February, right, we had Kishimoto deadass on Twitter answering somebody about, DIMS and more 2D Sonic, and Kishimoto did say in addition to 3D Sonic games also have side-scrolling Sonic games, so please look forward to them. Again, not really a surprise, not something that's like a shocking thing. We know Sega loves 2D Sonic. We know they love re-releasing them. We know they love making them. And they've said time and time again now that they understand, especially after Forces, that, people want 3D and 2D Sonic in sort of two different dimensions. Now, why does Chaos Island have all those 2D sections? I don't know. I wonder why, but still, you know what I mean, right? They understand for the most part that I feel like those two worlds gotta be separate. And so logically, right, what's next? Right, when you think about this, right, we're getting Sonic Origins Plus in about actually a month from now, which is kind of crazy, and that's gonna have all the Game Gear games in there, and that's sort of gonna be the complete definitive edition way to play 2D Sonic, the originals, which I think is a big deal because I feel like now that they have this collection out there on modern consoles, they're gonna have a hard time re-releasing these games again, which is good because then I feel like they can move on to other Sonic games. Maybe we can get advanced games as a collection. Maybe we can get the Rush games as a remaster. Like, I would love something like that, where we got those games remastered back, especially when we're seeing a lot of GBA games in general get the remastered treatment. I mean, we just saw with Advance Wars, we just saw Battle Network with massive success, selling 1 million copies. We had the Castlevania GBA games get remastered. Like, GBA era is starting to get its comeuppance, so it makes sense for Sonic Advance to finally pull back up. Now, I titled this video Sonic 5 because what if they made a true definitive sequel to the original games? Now, obviously, we have Sonic 4. Not a lot of people like to talk about Sonic 4, but I will be playing it on Twitch actually very soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, with Sonic 5, right, what do you do, right? Do you make it a classic style game, that's a follow-up to the originals? Do you make it like Mania where, it's pixel art? Do you make it like, Rush, but like it's the Rush style gameplay, but Sonic 5? Like, what exactly do you do with that? Now, listen, I don't usually believe or care about stuff, that Zippo says too much, but I thought it would be at least fun to read through what the rumor was back then in May 8th of 2022 for what the next 2D Sonic game would be, right? Believe it or not, it's actually being developed by Sonic Team with little to no outside involvement. This is the first time they'll be developing a 2D Sonic game in nearly 30 years, which is kind of surreal when you think about that they haven't made one themselves in forever. It's being built as a follow-up to Sonic Advance and Rush series in the same way Mania was a follow-up to the classic series. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles are playable. This is the first time Tails and Knuckles will be fully playable in a modern-focused 2D game since 2004 Sonic Advance 3. It's been a very long time, folks. I'm unsure of the release timing at this moment, but given that Sega has doubled down Sonic Frontiers releasing this holiday, it's safe to assume this will be a 2023 game. Now, when you put that into perspective, it's kind of fucking crazy, actually, that Sonic Team themselves have not developed their own 2D Sonic game, in over, what, 20-ish years. Like, that's surreal, and I feel like they deserve, to try that, Now, technically, they've made 2D stuff, right? Like, obviously, we had 2D levels in Generations, we had 2D levels in Forces, and even in Mania. So, to say they haven't worked on 2D stuff that long is not really true, but you know what I mean. I feel like developing like an official 2D Sonic game themselves, I feel like could be incredible. Like, I want to see what now that team has evolved, right? Obviously, most of those developers that worked on those original games probably aren't there anymore, but like, what happens when instead of giving it to DIMS or some other third-party company, when you get Sonic Team themselves, to work on it, because they've worked on so many 3D games, they kind of get a grasp of it, obviously, with some caveats in there. But what do you do, right? Like I said, and that's always the big question. Like, honestly, if it were up to me, I feel like Sonic 5, like a game titled Sonic 5, should be classic Sonic in the Mania sprite style with all original levels. Like, it should be all original levels, and you have Amy playable this time. You get Knuckles and Tails and maybe, another surprise character, kind of like they did with Mighty and Ray in Mania. I would love something like that. Another idea, again, if they wanted to do Sonic 5, to me, the second most ideal scenario would be like a Rush style sequel, where you have the boost in 2D, you're going to these very grandiose 2D levels, you're getting some fun dynamic camera stuff, and everything sort of feels like, hype, refresh, modern, more like Sonic Advance / Rush than it is an actual OG 2D Sonic game, you know, from the original trilogy. But again, like calling a game Sonic 5, it makes you think that you'd want to make it feel like, you know, the classics, right? I feel like that's what they'd want to aim for, especially when Sonic Frontiers is going, you know, open zone and doing all this stuff. As for when it might release, I'm not sure. I feel like maybe this year they're going to be focusing on Sonic Origins Plus, as well as continued Sonic Frontiers DLC, but I feel like an announcement could be imminent. You know, I feel like with June right around the corner, we're due for a Sonic Central. Those have come around. The last two we had were in May / June, so I feel like we are going to be getting one of those soon. I feel like, you know, the one big surprise you could have there would be a new 2D Sonic game, right? I feel like it's time, you know, and I mean, really, if you think about it, right, like the last one was Mania, and that was 6 years ago, bro. It's been so long since Sonic Mania came out, but obviously, you know, an incredible peak game, but like, and we know that team is sadly not there anymore. A lot of the people that worked on Sonic Mania aren't at Sega anymore. In fact, they've made their own studio called Everstar Studio, so it would make sense now more than ever that a new 2D Sonic game would be developed by Sonic Team or DIMS. Again, DIMS has still been kind of MIA on Sonic for a long time, so maybe they're co-developing the game and figuring things out. But again, obviously, it does seem like Sonic 5 is on the horizon. I want it to be ambitious, man. I want this next 2D Sonic game to be something we can remember, you know, something that will really, like, just make, like, I feel like if a 2D Sonic game thrives out, we're going to be in such a happy place. You know, we're going to have thriving movies, shows, 3D Sonic games with Frontiers, and 2D Sonic being perfect. It's like, to me, so many ideal worlds would be complete if we had a brand new banger 2D Sonic game. Because even Sonic Mania, as much as obviously I adore it, I think it's like my favorite Sonic game pretty much. You know, obviously a lot of it is classic levels, you know, it's old levels remade, as well as some new levels. But man, a brand new modern 2D Sonic game could go crazy. You know, I love the Rush games. I think those are incredible. And I have a great time with the advanced games, but I just feel like modernized with the playable cast, you know, in there, different gameplay styles, a cool story, especially now that we got Ian Flynn on board. I feel like we could be Ian really well with a banger new 2D Sonic game. So guys, let me know what you all think. I don't know, I just wanted to kind of talk about this. It was on my mind. What do you want from a new 2D Sonic game? Do you want it to be more like Rush? Do you want it to be more like, you know, OG classics? Do you want it to be pixel art? Do you want it to be hand-drawn style? That could be kind of raw. Like, let me know what you guys think, what's going on, and of course, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.